Hello for the 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time, using the first and third reading. The first one is from Sirach 3, the Old Testament, and the Gospel, Luke chapter 14, verses 1 and verses 7 to 14. And I call this Smell Me in quotes. It's some of my experiences, but smell me. But it deals with humility and pride and holiness. Well, it goes like this. Sometimes we think, we're just so great because we know this person or know that person. And so I think I have met quite a few interesting people in my life. And two of the most interesting sort of smell me people, uppity people, I have shaken my hand or their hand with two saints. Yes, saints in the Roman Catholic Church and recent ones. And one was, my early priesthood, was shaking the hand of Mother Teresa when I was a young priest up in northern Kentucky at one of the high schools in the ball field where there were a tremendous group of people. But I got to shake Mother Teresa's hand. And she is now a saint in the Roman Catholic Church, whom I admire tremendously. And so then I say, smell me. I must be holy like Mother Teresa. Not true. And then there was another one after I was a seasoned priest and went to Rome on a sabbatical and lived right down the street from Trevi Fountain, Fontana Trevi, and 3 coins in a fountain for 3 months. At the end, all 35 of us priests, we went to a session with the Holy Father in the piazza in Rome. There were thousands and thousands of people, but there are three groups in the front by the barrier, and he went and shook hands with all these people in these three groups. And I don't know if I was in the second or first row, but I think I wound up walking over the guy in the first row, and I got to shake John Paul's hand in the piazza in Rome. Well, smell me. He's a saint in the Roman Catholic Church. Let me tell you something. It didn't make me holy and great. But you know how you start to think. And you know how you try to think things through and, come with all kinds of crazy things. Well, then I thought of this because in the gospel, Jesus Christ went to eat, it says, Jesus, on a Sabbath, Jesus went to dine at the house of one of the leading Pharisees. Hmm. Jesus associated sometimes with the wealthy and the respected, and the important people, but I don't think he had my attitude, smell me. In fact, at other times, he really challenged these Pharisees. But at that same dinner, he saw all these people like little Larrys running around to get in the first person's places of honor, and he gave a talk on that and said that's not the way to do it. He gives a parable as far as then he told them a story or a parable to all those who make themselves or make and feel great amongst the people. He says that's not what it's all about. If you want to be great, you need to go to the poor and the help people and the lower people and not to the people of honor. or sainthood. For then he comes up and he says, because if you do that, then you'll grow and you'll be humbler or more humble and you will be holy. Hmm. He goes on, he says, where whoever exalts themselves will be humbled. And whoever humbles themselves in some of these meaningful, mundane things with other people and for the good of other people, you will be exalted. It's as simple as that. And you will be a child of God. Hmm. Giver of gifts. In the first reading in the Old Testament from the book of Sirach, it says, my child, conduct yourself with humility, and you will be loved more than a giver of gifts. I have another thing with the giver of gifts when I'm blowing up my head by saying you're wonderful. And that is two or three times I went to UK's basketball games with Tubby Smith's wife. Oh, you're sitting then with it tonight right behind. I wonder if yes, went to the basketball with Tubby Smith's wife. And one of the two times or three times, there was another special guest sitting in those four seats. And it was Tommy Lasorda, who was the great champion and coach of the Brooklyn Dodgers, who won many world title baseball pennants. And you know what? One of all the things that the people like is when those cheerleaders come out with those big guns they have t-shirts in it of UK t-shirts, basketball t-shirts, and they boom and pop them up and they go into the audience and so forth. Well, I've always wanted to try to get one, and I've a few times because I went to many games. Almost got one, but I almost got one that day when Tommy Lasorda was there, and it was close, but no cigar. I didn't make it again, like peanuts kicking the football. That night, at the end of the day, when UK won the basketball game, Tommy Lasorda, first of all, the cheerleaders at halftime came up and gave Tommy Lasorda one of those T-shirts with UK basketball on it. At the end of the day before we met, he says, here, Larry, take. You, you've been looking for one of these, or you need this more than I do. But I mean, humility, pride, giving gifts, and giving yourself to Christ or giving yourself to God or the will of God. That's what it's all about. It's not all of this famous stuff. And in the book of Sirach, my child, conduct yourself with humility, and you will be loved more than a giver of gifts, like Tommy Lasorda. Humble yourself the more, the greater you are, and you will find favor with God. Smell me. No, me needs to be humbler, more of a giver, more of a forgiver, etc., and so forth. Yeah, you ever met many people, important people, or what do you think? And how do you work out the will of God? Have a good day.